Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, I was just watching that campaign, and I've seen it so many times before, Ted, the sense of entitlement by a candidate, and it's suicide. It never works. It rarely works. It can, especially if it's some kind of like ensconced city councilman or a state senator who's been in office for 3,000 years. They just kind of, run, just run through the motions and they get reelected. When you run for office the first time, like I said, a major office, governor, mayor, president, you better friggin' want it. And you have to want it bad. Cuomo thought he could just skate to it. He's going to be the savior of New York and they will love me. Well, wrong answer. The New Yorkers saw this over and over and over again with him, and saw in his worthless family. I mean, his brother, and then and this guy's a sex offender. Couple that with the fact that he felt entitled to the position. Again, he could run for state senate, right? I mean, he could run, or let's be fair, mayor of Albany, which probably would have made more sense.
Cuomo?
Yeah. And it wouldn't have gotten, but mayor of New York City gets a hell of a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. So you'd better, it's the same thing for mayor of Los Angeles, mayor of.
And we're a hardworking city. Not to say that people in other cities are lazy, but we're a city of hardworking people because we have high rents to pay. And we want our politicians to work hard for it. A classic example of this was Ed Koch, who was routinely in the 1980s out on the streets at subway entrances during the morning and afternoon rush hours asking, how am I doing? How am I doing? And I remember I saw him one time doing that. And several people said, you suck. And I was just like, yeah, I agreed that he sucked, but I liked that he was there. And I think that's we like to see someone work for it. I think, I mean, it's interesting to me that he didn't seem to connect with the city and its current state. The zeitgeist counts for a lot. You mentioned Eric Adams. Let's not gloss over the incumbent mayor. I mean, he is the mayor, even though he was indicted on federal corruption charges that he then got rid of by betraying the immigrant community, right? People who forgot what happened, he basically was being bribed by the Turkish government to overlook fire codes. Charming. And then was indicted by the DOJ. Adams went to Washington and sucked Trump's dick. And in exchange, Trump said, okay, thanks for sucking my dick. I'll drop the charges, but you've got to agree to cooperate with ICE, no longer be a sanctuary city, and let me deport New Yorkers. New York has always been an enthusiastic sanctuary city. Rudy Giuliani, as governor of mayor from 1993 to 2001, was very pro-sanctuary city and refused to cooperate with the predecessor agency to ICE, INS. So both parties have always been very anti-deportations. Adams was like, well, I care more about my own black ass than I care about their brown asses, so they can just go. And Adams is so now. But Adams is going to be on the ballot. Probably, if you're the DNC, I think so. I mean, he's very unpopular. But look at it this way. I mean, if you're the DNC, you're like, all right, so Mamdani won with 43% of the vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means 57% of the vote or 56% of the vote is unaccounted for. What if we can get everyone to unite? What if we could get Sliwa to drop out and get Cuomo not to run and endorse Adams and get both sides to campaign for Adams? Maybe bribe Sliwa with he can become police chief or something. Give it to, can we get enough, Islamophobic shithead New Yorkers to vote against Mamdani and smear him as a child of privilege, which has already started. And we can get into his personal background and all that. Can we get to 50.1%? That's what they're thinking right now. And Adams would be the person to coalesce around, more so than Cuomo.
Wow. I mean, that's so funny to think that Eric Adams has a lane to get reelected, given his catastrophic
Because of
term.
corruption's been working for him from day one, and nothing says corruption like Democratic National Committee.
Well, so like I said, New York, I mean, the crime, you feel that has not gotten better, or has it?
It has. Violent crime is definitely down, but there's a lot of property crime and a lot of young kids going in like locusts and cleaning out the shelves of stores with like gangs of people with giant trash bags and stuff. That's happening a lot. The subways definitely feel menacing. There's insane people screaming and shadow boxing. And there's no sense of authority. What passes for authority is the subway rolls into a station and then an announcement comes over the speaker system. NYPD is at this station. Please feel free to reach out to them if you have any concerns or questions. That's not helping me if a lunatic is on my subway car right now, that like up the stairs and on top of a mezzanine by the turnstiles are a couple of cops on their iPhones. That's not helping me. And I think we need the cops on the platforms and in the trains the way they used to be in the 1980s.
Wasn't there a Metro police force?
There was they were a transit police. They were folded in, I believe, under Giuliani, foolishly, when the city felt safer. They created something called the Transit Bureau that was supposed to replace them. But the practical effect is we've gone from seeing cops who knew the subway system in and out, who knew how to turn off the power and chase suspects into the tunnels and knew where the tunnels led and all that, to no police presence whatsoever. As you see, you just don't see cops. A couple of months ago, I saw two cops in my subway station. It was as if the Beatles had reunited. There were so many people gathered around them, thanking them to be there, me included, because we just never see them. So
the same thing's happening in Chicago. I keep harkening back to it, obviously, because I'm cartoonist for Chicago Tribune. But last couple of times my wife and I have been in Chicago, we took the L, and it's a great system. It's a great subway system, but no cops on it. And there's a homeless guy asleep on every single car.
Mm-hmm.
So, taking up 3, 4, 5, 6 seats.
Smelly.
Gross. His own urine seeping, sloshing back and forth. And it's gross. And it makes it a very unlivable and unlikable city.